Hello and welcome to the Movie Trivia Schmoedown analysis. This is guest host, as not always, George Pendlebury, filling in for Oswald, who earlier gave you his full predictions for the Ultimate Schmoedown tournament. Well, Oswald did pretty well, I must say. He got almost every match correct up until this point. He got two mistakes. One pretty major, one potentially minor. We're going to find out soon. The major mistake, which I'm going to say most people may, not just old Oswald, was critically acclaimed losing to Late to the Party. Well, you know what? Here's an annoying match because technically speaking, critically acclaimed probably is the stronger team in terms of knowledge. But this is kind of a fascinating match to look at. Because if you look at it closely, it's a team, one of the most identifiable matches where one team lost because they didn't play the game correctly. Not because they didn't know the answers, because they didn't take the time to appreciate that you can, take a few seconds before you answer, and guess what? You get the answer right if you just wait a few seconds. But no, they were playing the game with their hands up a certain part of their anatomy the whole friggin' time. The critical acclaim guys, they were just so freaking smug. They didn't bother to take, oh, wait a minute, the shower scene in Psycho is definitely not 12 minutes, let's think a little longer, and bam! They could have gotten the right answer. Or, what movie does Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper in? Oh, let's take a second. Oh, Silver Linings Playbook. Oh, that was probably 2012, 2013. American Hustle. Bam! You would have gotten the answers right instead of you just spewing out the answers like you got nothing. Oh, we're this smarter than anybody. You're not smarter than nobody because you don't take the friggin' time. And this is nothing against Late to the Shindig or the Box Social or whatever they are. They actually performed quite admirably, quite well. But this is critically acclaimed completely the bad, if you know what I'm saying. In every foreseeable way, and they just played terribly. As any team goes, it's one of the worst performances just in terms of gameplay of the Schmoedown. Not in terms of answers. Plenty of teams we've seen can't answer anything, but they didn't play correctly because they were too full of themselves. Critically acclaimed, thumbs down to you all the way. The other upset is it was Team Action versus Team Trek. I gotta say though, seeing how Team Action has performed in the last few times, you gotta admire the guys for the smack-talking ability perhaps, but more for their knowledgeability. They're a team that actually seems to be improving from game to game. They must be actually, I don't know, watching a few films, taking a couple classics down, looking up just Wikipedia on Oscars. Not a bad idea. Anyways, they seem to actually be improving from game to game, something that's not quite the case for every single other team. Team Action beating Team Trek, that was an upset. Although, here's interesting. It was Mance, even though he was rattled in terms of the trash talking throughout, he didn't perform poorly. It was just Jason Inman's weakest game he's ever given. Possibly, I'd have to look back fully to get a little more into that, but he did not play well. So it was Mance, and he had that problem. He had the hindrance, and Mance couldn't make up for it, and unfortunately, the trade-off in the last 2 pointers for the 2-pointer, 3-pointer was most unfortunate, and they just couldn't come together to even get into the third round properly against Team Action, who has proven themselves to be a force. Now, in terms of any of the other matches, there weren't any major surprises. Above the line, as Drew McWeeny and Sam Levine became known, of course, was good. McCougar teaming up with Dewberry, Oswald predicted that, mind you. And, so I think we got ourselves a series of matches that could be pretty good. They turned out more or less how we expected them to come out, so that was good. So we have a slightly different alteration, though, due to critically acclaimed being a wave of losses, unfortunately, for Oswald's predictions. So this leaves us to the Final Fours, which are slightly different than expected, which is Team Action versus Team Top 10. By the way, Top 10 performing like they did as champs, well, when they became champs, not as champs, but performing as champions again. So that's going to be an interesting match, Team Top 10 versus Team Action. I think it can go either way. Maybe go for the former champs just for the safe side, but Team Action certainly has got something in them. They can definitely dig it. On the other hand, we had Wolves of Steel, who in their match against Late to the Party dominated like Wolves of Steel has never dominated before. There was nothing against Late to the Party. Although they didn't do great in round 2, but they didn't perform extremely poorly overall. Wolves of Steel was just too dominant for them to come back in a mediocre play. This is Wolves of Steel that was the initial hype as well, so it's going to be interesting. So they're going against Above to the Line, that is the newest team that one can appreciate, and Above the Line versus Wolves of Steel. is going to be an interesting match. I think Above the Line could pull it out in the clutch, but this is going to be more wheelbase than ever, because if they give, say, Wolves of Steel Classics, or if Above the Line gets Pixar movies, you know, it could go either way easily. I'm looking forward very much to both of these matches. Top 10 broke the record in the last match. I think that could potentially happen again with either of these matches, because these guys are in prime shape. Every match has only gotten them stronger and stronger in this tournament, so I'm going to be very interested to see how the rest of the Ultimate Schmoedown goes down. I'm going to predict Team Top 10 versus Team Wolves goes against Above the Line. I'll give it Above the Line. I honestly hope Above the Line wins overall, or Team Action actually, just because that way we get a new team against Team Patriots, but that might not be the way it goes down. So that's the movie trivia Schmoedown for today. I'm George Pendleberry, not as always. Thank you for listening.